Hi folks, Dr. Tom McNamara here for our course in Prep for College Math. We're reaching the end of the first chapter of our book, and the last section in that first chapter is about order of operations. So we are going to be tackling problems that have multiple arithmetic operations involved. And if there's multiple arithmetic operations, you have to know which ones to do first. And order of operations is what gives us the rules to follow for which ones to do first. And many of you probably remember this, PEMDAS, or please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So parentheses, anything in parentheses should be done first. We'll look at examples in just a minute about what that means. Exponents, we saw exponents back when we were dealing with common factors, so we know exponents mean we're doing repeated multiplication. So take care of anything in parentheses, then take care of any exponents. Then you're going to do your multiplication and division. Now, we're going to treat multiplication and division as the same order of priority. So if there are multiple operations in there that involve multiplication and division, we are going to follow the rule of working left to right with the multiplications and divisions. So whatever is leftmost, we're going to do first. Same thing with additions and subtractions. Those are on the same level. So parentheses is its own level. That's the top priority level. Once the parentheses are done, go to exponents. Then do any multiplication and divisions left to right, and then you do your additions and subtractions. Okay, one of the things I wanted to look at first is one of these guided practice problems that they have in our book here. In particular, number 15. Okay, you see what they're doing here? They're leaving these blanks, and they're stepping us through doing the problem with these blanks. I've recopied the problem over here. Okay, so this was problem number 15 on page 104 of our textbook. Okay, so notice they left me a blank right here because I'm supposed to do my exponent first. Now, I've got parentheses here, but it doesn't really mean anything. It's just to distinguish that I'm not taking 52 and then squaring it. It's just the 2 that's getting squared. Okay, so I'm doing my exponent first. 2 squared means, of course, 2 times 2, which is 4. Okay, now I've got a multiplication, a subtraction, and another multiplication. Order of operations says the multiplication should be done before the subtraction. So 7 times 4 is 28, they told me that. 5 times 4 is 20. And now I can do the last operation, which is the subtraction, and get an 8. Okay, so let's work a couple more examples here. Let me go and do something like this right here. Four times 3 power 3 minus 6. Okay, now another reason that I'm working these examples out here is I want to show you what I am expecting when I say I want to see work. Okay, these are the kind of steps I'm looking to see. Okay, so following our order of operations, we would do any parentheses that we see. I don't see any parentheses, so that's good. So we don't have to worry about that. Then we do the exponents. Okay, now notice it's 3 power 3. Okay, so the exponent applies to the 3. 3 power 3 is 27. If you don't believe me, 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27, right? I'll write it over here. 3 times 3 times 3 gives me 27. Okay, so this is 4 times 27 minus 6. Now 4 times 27, let me do a little calculation over to the side. It's probably easiest if I do this vertical. So I'll do 27 times 4. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry the 2. 108. 108 minus 6 gives me 102. So this is the type of work that I am looking to see on these problems. If you're just magically writing down the answer 108, you are not going to get credit. Show these steps. Okay, a couple more problems. Okay, let's try this one. Example number 2 for us. 60 minus 2 times 3 plus 22. Okay, so we notice there are no parentheses and there are no exponents. So nothing to worry about on that level. I do see a multiplication. The multiplication should get done first. 60 minus 6 plus 22. Okay, now this is what I was talking about when I was saying we are going to work additions and subtractions on the same level left to right. Okay, 54 plus 22. So I've got a subtraction and then an addition. They are at the same priority level. I am going to go left to right on those. So 54 plus 22, and then I get 76. Okay, so 76 for that. Similar problem here. Let me do example number 3. 144 minus 9. Oh no, not minus 9. That's a division symbol. 144 divided by 9 plus 4 times 2 times 3. Okay, so I notice I've got some divisions and I've got some multiplications. Those operations, the multiplications and the divisions, take priority over the addition. Right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Multiplication and division, then addition and subtraction. So we will do that. We'll do 144 divided by 9. Now, I'm going to need to do a little long division there. I can't quite figure that out. So 9 goes into 14 one time. 9. 5 left over, 54. 9 goes into 54 6 times. With 0 left over. Okay, so 144 divided by 9 is 16. Once again, I am looking for you to show me this work on your homework. When you submit something, if you're doing, 3-digit division problems and all you're writing down is the answer, I am not going to give you credit. Show the work. And then 4 times 2 times 3 is 24. Okay, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. And last, now we do the addition, and this gives us 40. Okay, if you don't believe me, we can show the work right here. 6 plus 4 is 10, so we put a 0 there, carry the 1, and we get 4 for a total of 40. Okay. Let me see here. Let's do some compare and contrast. So example number 4 for us, we're going to do 2 problems that look kind of similar. 20 minus 7 plus 6. And then 20 minus, now in parentheses, 7 plus 6. Okay, so here we've got addition and subtraction, same priority level, we're working left to right. So 13 plus 6. Of course, 20 minus 7 is how I got the 13. And that gives me 19. Over here, this is 20 minus 13. So I get 7. Okay, why did I do it in a different order down here? Well, the parentheses told me to do this operation first. And then I do 20 minus the result of this operation. Okay, let's do a couple more that have these parentheses in them. Okay, so how about this one here? Example number 5. 1 plus 3 power 3. 1 plus 3 power 3. Parentheses first, then the exponent. So 1 plus 3, of course, is 4 power 3. And, of course, we know what exponents are. Exponents stand for repeated multiplying. 4 power 3 is 4 times 4 times 4. And we're working left to right now. 4 times 4 is 16. And we're supposed to multiply that by 4 again. 16 times 4, I'll just do it out here. So 6 times 4 is 24. Carry the 2, 64. So we get 64. Once again, this is the type of work I'm expecting to see. If you just write 64, you are not getting credit for a problem like this. Show the steps. Okay, let's do another one that has some parentheses in it. So we'll do 50 minus 4 times 12 minus 5 times 2. All right, so we're supposed to work in the parentheses first. So what do I have in the parentheses? Well, I've got a subtraction and a multiplication. Order of operations tells me to do the multiplication first. I should do 5 times 2 and get 10. Now I do 12 minus 10, I got 2. Now I do the multiplication. Why am I doing the multiplication? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? PEMDAS. Multiplication and division before addition and subtraction. Order of operations tells me to do that part first. Okay, so 42. Notice I am writing down all the parts each time I go to the next step. Okay, that's so I don't forget pieces on the way. Okay, let's do some that have like multiple sets of parentheses here. So this one is 130 minus 7 times 2 squared plus 3 times 6 minus 2. Okay, the brackets don't really mean anything different than the parentheses. They're just to distinguish so we don't have a situation where we're doing like that type of thing and it's hard to tell what's the inside and what's the outside. So I know this one is paired up with this one over here and this one is paired up with that one. Okay, so what you got to do is you got to work inside out. If you have parentheses inside parentheses or parentheses inside brackets like we do here, you work on the innermost first. Okay, so 2 squared plus 3 times 4. Okay, notice I did the parentheses first. Now, order of operations tells me take care of that exponent. Oops, nope, not 9. 2 squared is 4. Okay, now that I've taken care of the exponent, I'm still working in the brackets now. I do the multiplication and get that. 130 minus 7 times 16. So the reason I did the addition first is because it was inside a bracket. Okay, so I dealt with the innermost parenthesis first. 6 minus 4 is 2. Now I'm dealing with what's inside the bracket. Exponent first, then the multiplier. Now the addition. Okay, I'm going to need to do a little scratch work here. 7 times 16. 6 times 7 is 42. Carry the 4 is 112. So 130 minus 112. And if you want, you can even do some work here, right? I don't have anything in the ones column, so I borrow from the tens column. 10 minus 2 is 8. 2 minus 1 is 1, and then that's a 0 right there, so I get an 18. Okay, so once again, these are the steps. I need to see these steps. If I do not see these steps, you are not going to get credit for these problems. Okay, this is a longer problem. I'm expecting that you will need to work out these intermediate steps to get the answer. All right, let's do one that has division. Looks like I accidentally hit the camera with my notebook there, but that's okay. Doesn't seem to have hurt it. Okay, so let me see. That last example was number 7. This is the 8th example that we're doing here. Okay, so 3 times 14 minus 6 over 2 times 3 squared. Okay, So in a problem like this, where you have basically a huge fraction, work out the top and bottom. Then, once those are done, then divide. Okay, so we're going to work out the top, we're going to work out the bottom independently, and the last thing we do is divide. Okay, so we're working on top. 3 times 14. Okay, 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, and that is 42. Okay, so my numerator is now 42 minus 6. How do I know it's 42 minus 6? Well, order of operations told me to do the multiplication first. Over here in the bottom, 2 times 9. How do I know to do that? Well, exponent goes first. Okay. Now I'm working my top part and my bottom part independently here. 42 minus 6. We borrow there. 12 minus 6 is 6. So I have 36 over 18, which is 2. Okay, 2 times 18 gives me 36. All right, so I'm hoping that this clears up how I want to see this kind of work done. All right. One thing I'm seeing a lot of folks having trouble with is showing me work. And they're missing out on a lot of credit because they are not showing me work. They're taking 2 3-digit numbers and magically multiplying them without any work. That's not what this course is about. This course is about getting us grounded in the fundamentals of arithmetic. If you're using a calculator to do this work, you are not getting the reps that you need in. Okay? So I'm supposed to be seeing this stuff on your homework papers. And if I'm not seeing that, you are not going to get credit. Okay? So, to review, we're talking about order of operations. Work on parentheses first. If you have multiple parentheses, go to the innermost set of parentheses and start there. Take care of any exponents before you do multiplications and divisions, and do those before you do any additions and subtractions. Okay? So, I hope this helps. And the next thing that we have after this is going to be our Chapter 1 test, which will be due in about a week's time.